Okay, gaming fans, get ready to twiddle your joysticks in merriment because Asus has just launched the fresh new Republic of Gamers Phone 5. And after the previous generation of ROG Phone decided not to bother coming out in the UK, the good news is that the ROG Phone 5 will make it to these shows, packing some incredibly beefy specs and all kinds of dedicated gaming features. And the ROG Phone 5 will be launching globally from this month. It'll cost you from €799 here in Europe. I'm going to take you on a full-on unboxing and tour of all the hardware and the software right now, but I'll also be doing a separate dedicated video concentrating on the gaming performance, the gaming features, and how the battery life fares under duress. So to make sure you don't miss that bad boy, definitely please poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Alright, let's unleash the Kraken. And first of all, I've got to say, very snazzy box indeed. And oh, some very snazzy anime style artwork on the inside as well. That's a neat little touch. For those who dare to shoot random strangers online in the face over and over again. So what you get bundled in here is one smartphone, naturally. You've got a protective case as well, although definitely not a condom case, far too many holes for that. You've got some random little stickers as an added bonus. You've got one seriously beefy 65-watt hypercharge adapter as well. Absolute size of this thing, you could proper brace someone with this. And last up, you've also got a Type-C to Type-C USB cable, and it's a threaded one, feels proper durable, that's for sure. Alright, so now it's time to check out this absolute unit. And there she blows, the ROG Phone 5 in all of its sexy glory. Now, first impressions are, holy shit, I wish that I lifted, bro, because this is a 238 gram beast. Talk about a hefty bugger, you'll definitely be feeling this one when it's stuffed in your pocket, that's for sure. You've actually got a choice of two color options with the ROG Phone 5 at launch. This darker one, otherwise a lighter option as well. It's actually constructed from glass on the back there, as you can see, quite a glossy finish to it. It's Gorilla Glass 3 around back, but around front that's upgraded to Gorilla Glass Victus. And that's great news because Gorilla Glass Victus isn't just super scratch resistant, it's also drop resistant as well, up to a height of around sort of 2 meters or so. So even if you fumble the ROG Phone 5, because let's face it, is a bit of a freaking unit, and it slams down face first onto a concrete floor, touch wood, it will emerge unscathed. Now, this is of course especially important for a gaming smartphone where you don't necessarily want to be slathering screen protectors on there because that might balk the screen responsiveness. As with previous ROG phones, this is very clearly a gaming smartphone thanks to the finer detailing that Asus has chucked on there. Got a bit of arse art there, and of course you've got the RGB backlighting as well, which I'll test out in a bit. Got the usual misshapen camera chassis, all that good stuff. I like the way that Asus highlights the power button, that's a neat little touch. And then down beneath the ROG Phone 5, you've got a dedicated headphone jack, and you've also got a Type-C USB port. But then on the opposite edge to the power button, you've got a rubbery flap thing. If you peel that away, you'll find you've got another Type-C USB port there, which is really handy if you want to charge up or just power up the phone while you're gaming. And Asus has clearly got a thing for it because the SIM tray is decked out in it as well. And of course, because of all these ports and the vents and all the rest of it as well, there is no IP water or dust resistance rating here on the ROG Phone 5, so definitely don't go getting it too moist. And when it's time to bung your SIM card inside of the Asus ROG Phone 5, we should find the space enough in there for actually 2 cards at once. But sadly, no room for a micro SD memory card to expand the onboard storage. Alright, so enough banging on anyway, let's actually power up the ROG Phone 5 and then we take a full-on tour of the hardware and the software. Oh, Christ, I almost filled my keks there. Oh, I like it. Even the setup screen is super sexy, look at that. Alright, the ROG Phone 5 is all set up and ready for action, and it looks like we've got some more comic book shenanigans on the go. Step into the universe with Akira on the spaceship. Fight side by side against the enemies. Bit vague on who the enemies actually are here. After mission completion, put on your exclusive face mask to create the ID card and open the ROG Worldview. Well, I understood probably about 20% of that. It looks like it's an AR feature where it actually scans the box. Let's get this on the go. Okay, so let's give this a go. So scanning the first comic. Oh! Jeez, yeah, and it's coming to life. Alright, some sort of big satellite jobby. And there's Mr. Badass. Uh-oh, that's not a good situation. Oh, but he's got some sort of kick-ass arm thing and a big-ass sword. Akira! Yeah, he's pissed off. Whoa, tap continuously, I can do that. That was easy. So now it looks like I can choose some kind of face appendage thing. Oh, this one's very funky. And also probably pandemic approved as well. Oh, there you go. That pretty much is my face mask that I wear on a daily basis now. Except without the freaky red glowing eyes. That one's a bit poo. Let's go with this one, yeah. If only you could give me fake hair as well, then that would be an awesome feature. Okay, so a minor diversion there, but now we're properly into the ROG Phone 5, and what you've got here is the freshest Android 11 OS, and you've actually got a choice of two different UIs. You've got the Republic of Gamer UI, which I've set up as the default here. Otherwise, you can also switch to that Zen UI. Now, as usual, that ROG UI is very heavily themed. As you can see, they've tweaked everything from the icons to the general system colors. Everything is certainly very heavily stylized. You've got a variety of different wallpapers that you can choose between, all of them. Obviously, again, very heavily stylized, heavily gamer influenced. And that includes animated papers like this little effort here, which will, of course, sap your battery life a bit faster. And the ROG Phone 5 is going to serve up a variety of new theme packs based on existing video game properties as well. I'm just going to go for a bit of a geeky anime effort, as usual. And there we have it. Loving the purple theme in there. Very snazzy. Jesus Christ, what the f was that? Otherwise, you've also got a theme featuring Yamana Kira there pre-installed, and if you prefer the general Zen UI setup rather than the ROG UI, then just tap on Classic. And this gives you a much more straightforward stock Android vibe. I'm going to stick with the geeky anime though, and it's got a nice bit of red inflection now. Whoa, Jesus f***. Is it going to keep on making these noises? Now, when you want to unlock your smartphone, first of all, I hope you don't have epilepsy if you're using this theme, because it's, yeah, it's a bit on the bright side. But as you can see there, it's an in-display fingerprint sensor. I might have to get rid of this theme because it makes so much noise. And yeah, that in-display fingerprint sensor, as you can see there, is an optical sensor because it lights up the general area where you scan your thumb. And touch wood so far seems nice and responsive. And you've also got full face unlock support here on the ROG Phone 5 as well, so you can just either raise to wake or just tap that power button, and as you can see, it scans your mug, and that is hyper fast. As I mentioned before, no micro SD memory card support to expand the onboard storage here, but you've got a choice of either 128 or 256 gigs of storage with the standard ROG Phone 5. As you can see, this is the 256 gig model, so plenty of space for all of your massive games, but a Genshin Impact and all that good stuff. Speaking of which, let's get that little mofo downloaded, and it is UFS 3.1 as you would expect, so nice and nippy for downloading all your big files. That 121 meg file downloaded in just a handful of seconds, good stuff. And when it's time to get your game on, you'll want to tap this little icon down here. That's the Armoury crate icon. And this is basically the gamer UI, so all of your games will be gathered here in one place. You can flick between them. You can set up profiles for each game to say exactly what performance booster is used, all that kind of good stuff. You can see exactly how much of your life you've pissed away on each title. And this is an absolutely feature-packed tool, so I'll definitely cover that in full when I come to do my in-depth game testing on the ROG Phone 5, so stay tuned for that video. But this is where you'll need to go if you want to set up those RGB lights around the arse end of the ROG Phone 5. You can get those lights flashing when you're getting your game on, and you can also use it as basically a glorified notifications light and all that good stuff too. And it's slightly more advanced than the RGB lighting on previous ROG phones because it can actually flash a couple of different hues at the same time. Now, that 6.78-inch behemoth of a Samsung AMOLED display has been custom made for the Asus ROG Phone 5, and it is an absolute beauty. It's only a full HD plus panel, not Quad HD plus, so it's a 2448 by 1080 pixel resolution, but that's 395 pixels per inch. That's certainly sharp enough for enjoying games and movies and all the rest. You've got HDR10 plus support for nice sharp contrast, nice deep blacks, a nice natural looking color reproduction, and that's supported in the likes of Netflix. You've got pleasingly natural colour reproduction. You can actually dive into the display settings on the ROG Phone 5 as well though, and then go to the Splendid section, and you can actually play around with a variety of different colour modes, including cinematic. And you can also change up the refresh rate as well, which is set to 120 Hz by default, but you can boost it all the way up to the maximum 144 Hz, which is now supported by a good couple of hundred Android games. Or you can stick it on auto mode as well, which will then flip between the various different refresh rates to sort of save on your battery life when it's not necessary. And the screen also supports 300 Hz touch sampling as well, ideal for those really fast-paced, reaction-based online games like PUBG and Call of Duty and everything. And again, I'll be testing that out for my gaming video. Now, for your audio, as with previous ROG phones, you've once again got a pair of symmetrical front-facing stereo speakers. And apparently Asus has afforded a bit more space to the speaker tech inside of the ROG Phone 5, so it's now 21% more powerful audio output compared with the previous gen. So let's just bump up the volume, see what we got. Cancelled out by the H95s. As for the sound, well, you get dual 40mm titanium drivers built into the BeoPlay H95s, and do I even need to say it? The sound is absolutely incredible. Yeah, those speakers are certainly nice and beefy, and the clarity stays strong even on that top volume as well, which is great. And the stereo speaker output should be great if you're gaming on the go and you don't happen to have a headset with you. You've also got full Bluetooth 5.2 support as well if you want to get a wireless connection on the go. And as mentioned before, you do thankfully get that headphone port down below too. And Asus has made sure that the audio chops on this thing are just as good as the visuals, whether you're gaming, kicking back with tunes, or whatever. You've got an ESS Sabre Hyperstream 2 quad DAC on this bad boy. So that means even when using a pair of Bluetooth headphones or whatever, that sound should be crisp and clear, really strong performance. And if you've got a good enough pair of headphones, you've also got full support for high-res audio. And you've got full control over that audio output as well. If you dodge into Asus's Audio Wizard in the sound settings, as you can see there, you can play around with a small selection of presets. Otherwise, you've got the 10-band EQ that you can use to tweak the audio to your own personal preferences. As for the performance, well, unsurprisingly for a gaming smartphone, you've got the latest, greatest tech in there, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chipset, backed by a frankly ludicrous 16 gigs of RAM on the top-end model. Although that said, if you're a super dedicated fan, then you can spunk up a bit of extra cash for the ultimate edition of the ROG Phone 5, which packs in a absolutely insane 18 gigs of RAM. Clearly that extra 2 gigs will make all the difference. And I have taken the liberty of running a bit of Geekbench 5 already. Unfortunately, Antutu was blocked because this is pre-launch, so hush hush, etc. But as you can see there, great scores, both single core and multi-score from the ROG Phone 5. And my review model of the ROG 5 is the 16 gig model, but you can buy it with just 8 gigs of RAM if you're not that flash. But of course, a big part of the performance chops of any gaming smartphone is the thermals, which again, Asus has apparently rejiggered for the ROG Phone 5. Good to see that RGB light is going a bit mental. But anyway, the thermals I will cover again in that gaming video. I'll also cover the air trigger features more in depth in that gaming video as well, but you can actually use it in general UI as well, just by giving the phone a bit of a squeeze like so. And as you can see, with a long squeeze, you can start up that X mode, or you can open the camera app, you can turn on Do Not Disturb, turn on the flashlight, whatever you fancy. Now, if you're going to be doing a lot of gaming on the ROG Phone 5, the good news is that connectivity is shit hot as well, again, as you would expect from a gaming smartphone. You've got full Wi-Fi 6E support on this bad boy, so especially good if you've got a really congested network, if you're out and about using public Wi-Fi. That's something I'm definitely dreaming of doing someday, using public Wi-Fi in a busy area with lots of other people around. And because it's the Snapdragon 888, you've got that built-in 5G modem as well, and you've got a multi-antenna setup in here, so it doesn't matter how you're clutching the ROG Phone 5, you'll get that strong connectivity. And if you are connected to a mobile network as well as Wi-Fi, then the ROG Phone 5 can actually smartly decide on the fly which one's best for your gaming session, which one's fluctuating the least. On the battery side, of course, you need a beefy goddamn battery for a gaming device like this with such incredibly powerful specs and all kinds of features on the go. And where is the battery section? I can never find it. There it is. And it's a 6,000 milliamp cell stuffed here inside of the ROG Phone 5. You've got that side port for charging, as I mentioned before, which is great. If you're gaming and you realize that you're low on battery, you can just plug in there. And you've got all kinds of adaptive battery settings to dive into too. So you've got 65 watt hypercharge support here on the ROG Phone 5, but if you dive on into the battery care section of the battery settings, you'll see you've got a couple of options here: steady charging and scheduled charging. That steady charging allows you to limit how fast the battery charges, so it doesn't reach that peak in under an hour as it would do if it was charging at the maximum rate. Now, that's definitely good news if you're not in a hurry for that battery to power back up again. And if you go into the scheduled charging, this is great news if you're going to leave the phone plugged in overnight and charge, and this just limits how fast it charges again, and then it makes sure it only just reaches 100% charge when you're about to get up in the morning. You can schedule the exact time that it will finish powering up. You can even have it set via your alarm clock as well. So hopefully these battery features will help to just prolong the lifespan of your battery, make sure that your battery life isn't balked if you've been using the phone for a good year or two. And last up, let's finish this unboxing and tour of the ROG Phone 5 with a look at the camera tech, including that triple lens rear camera. And what you have here is a 64 megapixel primary sensor. It's actually Sony's IMX686 sensor with a bit of built-in optical image stabilization, all that good stuff. Nice fast shutter speed by the looks of it, and the actual focus seems to be nice and nippy too, as you can see there. You could also swap at any point to the 13 megapixel ultra wide angle lens with a quick tap like so. And loads of bonus camera modes as usual, including the likes of course, the portrait mode. You can actually play around with the bokeh level there to get a really nice strong blurry effect in the background. We've also got a night mode to help out with those really low light shots, and a full-on pro mode as well if you want to dive on in and just play around with some of the camera settings like the ISO levels, the shutter speed. And the final lens there on the back is a 5 megapixel macro lens. You can jump into the macro mode by going to that more section. Got to get really up close to use this bad boy. Still don't really see the point of it, but it's there if you want it. And when it comes to shooting video, well, it's stuck at Full HD by default, but you can bump that up to Full HD at 60 FPS. Otherwise, you've got 4K at 30 or 60 FPS, and you can even jump it all the way up to 8K. But of course, if you're going to be doing a bit of in-game commentary or something like that, if you're doing a bit of Twitch streaming and such forth, then you're obviously going to be more interested in the front-facing selfie cam, and that is a 24 megapixel effort. Can actually use 4-in-1 pixel binning just to help brighten up your shot, get it looking really sweet. And as you see, if you swap to the video, you can once again shoot Full HD at 30 or 60 FPS, but that tops off there. There's no 4K option, and of course no 8K. You've got a quad mic set up on the ROG Phone 5 if you want to do your bit of in-game commentary or anything, and of course you can just shoot a lovely looking selfie, or in the case of me, a gumless looking selfie. So that right there in a nutshell is the Asus ROG Phone 5, as I say, available from this month for €799 and upwards here in Europe, and it's going to be available across the world as well. And as I say, it's kind of brushing the surface really, despite the fact I've been banging on for hours. I'm actually losing my voice. Haven't even begun to touch on the various gaming features, the gaming accessories that you can optionally buy for the ROG Phone 5, and of course the performance, the battery life, all that good stuff, which I will be testing out in full in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that in-depth gaming video. And in fact, because I'm shooting this video a few days before the official launch of the ROG Phone 5, the gaming video should be going live pretty soon after this unboxing hits the channel. But anywho, it'll be great to hear your own thoughts on the ROG Phone 5 from what you've witnessed so far. Are you tempted by it? Definitely be great to hear from you down below, and please do plug subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest greatest tech. Have yourselves a lovely freaking rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you.